Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Government minister cites urgent need for local skilled labor as more applications are made for work permits. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Thursday, November 28th, 2019, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Labour Minister Honourable Peter David says while government has a part to play to ensure that Grenada develops a skilled labour force, young people also owe it to themselves to seek out and acquire the skills that can make them self-sufficient. Making his contribution to Grenada's $1 billion 2020 budget recently, Minister David said for 2019, Grenada earned just under $2 million in income from processing work permits. He says this shows that there is an urgent need for skilled labor, which is currently being imported, and as such, Grenadians need to tap into these areas of demand.
If we have these trained persons, then we won't be needing all these work permits. So we have to work towards that as a government. But not everything is up to the government. It is up to the young people to take the opportunities afforded to them, buy the tools, stick with the guys who know the trade, learn from them. And that way, we will be able to reduce the work permits. Maybe we will not reduce the work permits. Maybe we will continue to give work permits because more and more and more projects are coming. But at least we will have more Grenadians, trained Grenadians, able to earn higher incomes from these projects.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, says 2019 has been a profitable year for the banking and non-banking sectors, which recorded declines in the non-performing loans below the international benchmark. Liquidity continues to be a looming issue in the commercial banking system. Total deposits increased by 5.3% during the period July 2018 to July 2019 to $3 million, while total loans rose by 3% to $1 million over the same period. One local bank says it has recorded its sixth consecutive growth in 2019. The Grenada Cooperative Bank, in giving its 2019 year-end performance report for the period October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2019, said $9.7 million was recorded after its tax profits, an increase of 26%.
As the economy continues to grow, the banking sector has seen a turnaround in the demand for credit and a continued reduction in the non-performing loans. Liquidity levels within the banking system remain high as deposit growth flourishes, with still limited options in the domestic market for the absorption of the excess liquidity. Operating costs within the sector continues to be a challenge due to the continual metamorphosis of the regulatory and compliance environment. The banking space remains highly competitive as commercial banks, credit unions, and non-bank financial institutions aggressively compete for business.
That was Chairman of the bank, Darrell Brathwaite. He says this was driven by an increase in credit demand, reduction in non-performing loans, and containment of loan delinquency.
Improve credit and liquidity risk management, along with expanding transaction volumes. Our non-performing loans ratio is now below 1% as at 30th September 2019, demonstrating the success of our previously articulated commitment to continuous improvement in our credit underwriting and the containment of loan delinquency. Maintaining high asset quality remains our primary area of focus.
The ECCB's prime loan rate remains at 10% and the discount rate remains at 6.5%. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The Grenada Trade Center, in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Utilities, NTRC, and the PURC, presents a mega trade show and educational drive from Friday, November 29th to Sunday, December 1st at the Grenada Trade Center. Bring out the entire family to be informed and educated on financial, ICT, and insurance matters. Also on display will be LED energy-saving products, jewelry, art and craft, and so much more. You can also enjoy fireworks and sweet steel pan music. Mark the date, Grenada, November 29th to December 1st, Grenada Trade Center, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's a family affair. Our partners, GUT Credit Union, Antillean Insurance, Flow, Blue Bubbles PA and Rental Services, Nexio, and GIC.
Welcome back. Moving on to education, more than 60 secondary school teachers recently participated in a modern language teachers training workshop to look at new material in textbooks by Oxford University Press. We have more in this report by Annette Moore.
The one-day training workshop, sponsored by Oxford University Press, one of the leading textbook publishers in the world, targeted secondary school French and Spanish teachers who currently use textbooks from this publisher. Marisha Charles Alexis, the curriculum officer for modern languages, provided some background into the origin and purpose of this training.
In 2017, I believe, we had our national book review. And both French and Spanish teachers selected books that came from Oxford University Press. And I saw it fit to engage the company to request training in how to interact with the new material that students and teachers were receiving. This has never been done before. It was also useful for us to get some direct input from some of the authors of the two textbooks. From the first workshop, I noticed that some teachers were still having difficulties, hence the second workshop.
Ninka Abin and her colleague from the Oxford University Press were here to deliver the training.
We first sent out a survey to all the teachers in Grenada, and they came back with feedback. And from that feedback, we created this workshop to support the teachers with the teacher guides, with differentiation, how to use the books, activities, and also it was really lovely to just be here, and we met all the teachers and they were quite engaged. They were interested in hearing more about the resource. Teachers have now a bit more of an idea of how they can use this, so we really hope that we can, with this, give them a bit more support.
The company was very pleased to announce this morning that the French teachers will now have the audio recordings that go along with the textbook online.
Now we have also given Grenada especially, and we will reach out to other islands, more support with the skill listening.
So this kind of engagement with companies that supply us material is quite good. It's working out quite well for us.
Participants in the workshop provided feedback on the exchange. Rachel Lewis, a Spanish teacher at the Anglican High School, is participating for the second time.
It has been quite informative. We are learning quite a bit about integrating the textbooks that we have to use at this school in our classrooms and making learning a lot more fun for the students using that material. I particularly liked the way that the book links the activity to your objectives. Because sometimes as teachers, you have an objective, you have an idea as to what you want to teach that day, but the activities to get the kids involved in what you want to do, sometimes it just doesn't come about. So we get to learn different activities that we can introduce into the classroom to help get our objective complete.
Frankie Noel, a Spanish teacher and head of the Foreign Language Department at MacDonald College, also agreed with this observation.
The books that we had before, they did not have as much activities in them as we have with this book now, and we realize that there is actually a teacher's guide, and there is also the workbook that coincides with each aspect of the book. I just learned about Las Pruebas. That's an assessment tool that is used after certain topics are taught, units are taught in order to examine the students' previous knowledge as well as what they would have learned through the units. Most so it focuses on the grammatical aspects as well as the vocabulary of the students.
Charles Alexis also pointed out some of the workshop's highlights.
One of the highlights for me would be the information that was presented on lesson planning. Another high point for me would be the reference to differentiated instruction. We're aware that we have classes with students of mixed abilities, and our mandate from the Ministry of Education to teachers is that each child must feel included in each class.
Having the workshop today enlightens us as to how the language is ever changing, different strategies or techniques that can be employed in the classroom. So because of that, I think the workshop was beneficial.
We're putting a different face to modern languages. It's not just something that students do to pass the time. These are skills that we're helping our students to build. I'm looking forward to improved lesson plans when I go out to schools to support and to supervise teachers. I'm expecting improved lesson delivery.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. Finally, in the news, 8 Grenadians are now certified following the completion of a refrigerant driving license RDL program. 6 are certified at the level of trainers and 2 as technicians. The internationally recognized program assists in reducing the consumption of greenhouse gases and other substances and contributes to implementing proper and safe management of refrigerants in AC, heating and refrigeration equipment. The participants are now qualified to conduct RDL training to other technicians worldwide. A recognition ceremony was held to commemorate their recent achievement. The National Ozone Unit has many stakeholders on board to help promote climate-friendly and energy-efficient alternatives. Mr. Leslie Smith spoke about the initiative.
We must underscore that each and every one of us in the room here who are stakeholders, be it technicians, be it trainers, be it marketing people for these companies that sell the equipment, academia, etc., have a very important role to play in the global effort to rid the planet of these dangerous chemicals. And so we are very happy that we have had, so far, very good cooperation from all of the stakeholders, and we are at a very good position now where we are amongst the leaders in the world and recognized globally for our efforts in the phase down of ozone-depleting substances.
Ms. Esther Thomas, who is attached to the Ministry of Infrastructural Development, says the program will benefit Grenada.
Grenada, being a small island state, is particularly vulnerable to the negative impacts of global warming, climate change, and adverse environmental impacts, and must therefore find solutions to mitigate against these conditions. Hence, a large greenhouse gas mitigation potential lies in transitioning from highly climate-damaging refrigerants to alternatives with low global warming potential with improved energy efficiency.
That story just ended the National Report for today, Thursday, November 28th, 2019. Let's recap the top story. Government minister cites urgent need for local skilled labor as more applications are made for work permits. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
course, a special good morning to those of you joining us live on Facebook, and of course, those of you viewing on the YouTube channel as well. Remember to share and like the video. Get everybody involved. I can guarantee you that this morning is going to be a very interesting topic. So call your neighbor, call your best friend, call your auntie in Canada, call your cousin in Australia, tell them to tune in because we are about to discuss a very, very interesting topic. All right? I have a special guest with me this morning. Sometimes he does try his very, very best to get away from it, but I master at pleading. So I pled a lot this morning, and I happened to get him here this morning, and he's about to walk in the door, I want to give him a chance to walk in the door, but I find he trying something. But that's okay, guys. We have a very, very special topic this morning. Now, please remember, keep in mind that this Saturday, the St. George Southeast Constituency Office, they're having their breakfast. I believe they said they'll be having it every Saturday now until Christmas. Let me see. I think it's now until Christmas. Well, they didn't even say until Christmas. They just said until. All right. The venue has changed. I believe it's opposite King Cut Barbershop. That's in St. Paul. I believe it's close to Good Hope. So you want to go ahead and support that initiative. We also have the St. Andrew Northeast. They're having an all-day, I don't want to say breakfast because it's not just breakfast, but an all-day fundraiser. They'll have breakfast, they have lunch, dinner if you want to, and of course the proceeds from that is to help with the Christmas program that they will be hosting for the children on different days in the upcoming month, right? The St. David constituency branch, they're also having an all-day fete, and that's happening this Saturday also. So this Saturday has a lot of events, right? They will be having that at the constituency office grounds. It starts at 11 a.m. and eats will be on sale, $10 per serving. In all of the fundraisers that I just mentioned, which would be the St. George Southeast, the St. Andrew Northeast, all of their servings are $10, right? The bar is promised to be solid, and of course they have a live band and DJ, and of course for the children, face painting and other attractions. So you definitely want to go out and enjoy yourself. Of course, do as much as you can to support, because we know that it's going to a worthy cause. Remember, our numbers to call is 440-7377 for local calls, 440-7377 for our WhatsApp calls, 347-329-3101 for our overseas calls. We had an interesting week. We spent a lot of time discussing the budget, what it entailed, what does it mean, what the different aspects of the budget mean, and we had the Minister Oliver Joseph coming in and speaking to us on what the different aspects of it is, when we say the economy is growing, what sectors contribute most to the growth of the economy. We also spoke about agriculture, which is a topic that is at the tip of everybody's tongue. What can we do to get our youth more involved in what's going on in our agricultural sector, right? What benefits are available, and how can we marry or continue to marry agriculture and tourism? Because they're both beneficial. They both contribute significantly to the economy. So we definitely want to keep these things in mind as we go on. Remember, we have our Senate sitting next week where the debate is going to be real. We have our senators going out there and discussing the budget, dissecting the budget, debating the budget. So it's expected to be interesting. What I always want to advocate for in these type of sittings, it is very, very, very important that we encourage our young people, whether it's at a TAM-CC level, whether it's at a secondary level, a primary level, to go into Parliament and to witness this happening. Because, I mean, it is a very interesting, very important, very vital event that is going to take place, and it helps them to understand how Parliament works. And it may encourage, it may spark a few careers out of that. You never know. So I'm appealing to, the teachers in the different schools, the parents, and so on, to make it a class trip, make it an event to take your students out there and to witness what happens in an actual debate in Parliament, So it's definitely expected to be a wonderful, interesting event. So we encourage everybody, not just the schools, everybody in the different constituencies to go out there and to really be a part of what is happening in your Parliament. Good morning. Good morning to all of you out there who send your greetings. Good morning to you, to those of you still joining us on the live. I'm waiting for my soldiers, the soldiers of Hard Talk to come in and share with us. Come on, share the live. I like it. It's definitely going to be a very interesting topic this morning. But before I get into the topic and before my guest arrives, I do want to bring up something that is very important, hopefully to encourage us, right? Grenadians, and I'm speaking to everybody in general, I always appeal to us to be careful of the things that we allow ourselves to fall for. We have a culture in Grenada, some of us, not all of us, a culture where we read things not for understanding, but we read for responding, when it must be the other way around. We must read first to understand and then to respond. It's basic comprehension, When we were in school, right, and we were doing comprehension in school, and even now, what do? We advise our children to read, right, to get themselves accustomed to what they're reading. Then we ask them to reread. They reread for understanding of what they're reading. And then they read again to pull out the salient points for response. Apparently, we have forgotten all of that, and what we tend to do now is read for the sole purpose of responding. And we have a tendency as well to pull out all of the juicy details or the things that sound juiciest and make those things the salient points. They may not be the salient points, but we make them the salient points because it's interesting and it's sensational and it drives us and it gets our adrenaline running and it's good topic for conversation and for confusion and for, sensationalism. We like that. And there's nothing wrong with being sensational. I'm a bit sensational sometimes, but we have to know what we're being sensational about and the ripple effect that it can have on not just the Grenadian society, but also on the reputation of Grenada as well. We have to be careful. I keep saying we have to be careful, and I will continue to say that we have to be careful. When we look at our budget and we look at how much monies we're spending in recurrent expenditure and these things, and then we look at the monies that we have to spend in wages and so on, we know that in Grenada, we cannot maintain the economy just by what we contribute to the economy, basically. We can't. So we rely on grants from different countries. We rely on loans and funding from different countries to further develop Grenada so that we can get to a place where we don't have to rely on grants and funding as much. And as much as we would like to be at that place right now, it's not a reality. And if anybody out there, whichever political party, would like to openly say how we Grenadians can contribute to the economy to the point where we don't need to take a loan, I would love to hear it. I would love to hear that. But it hasn't been said. And it hasn't been said simply because it is not a reality. So we rely on these grants and these loan fundings in order to sustain Grenada and to develop Grenada so that at some point Grenada can sustain itself to an extent. So when we Grenadians, we contribute to the negativity that goes out there about Grenada, or the negativity that is being said about Grenada, and we don't sit down and dissect and analyze and put facts together and reason, then we are doing more damage to Grenada than anyone else out there. And that is a fact. Remember, guys, our lines are open from the very beginning. The numbers to call are 440-7377 for local calls, 347-329-3101 for overseas calls. Be part of the conversation. We do more damage. Well, some of us, I ain't gonna say we, because I'm not part of that. More damage to Grenada by sharing nonsense stories in an effort to discredit a person. I don't know what about this one person that they hate so much that they rather bring down an entire country to bring down one person. And we Grenadians endorse it and allow it. And we support it by sharing these nonsense stories. I will say again, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. When we do these things and the outsiders are looking in and saying, well, this is not a place that I want to send my money. This is not a place where I want to give a loan to. This is not a place where I want to send a grant. When we start losing grant funding, when we start losing our ability to acquire loans and these things, and then Grenada starts to suffer as a result of it, we're going to turn around and we are going to blame the same people that we helped to destroy. We turn around and blame them. We have our first caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Good morning, Miss Jacob. How are you?
I'm fine. You see that piece of thing you just, last piece of thing you just said? That brings you right back to the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
When our Lord was on earth.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? You know when our Lord was on earth, he spent a lot of people, about 500 men. He don't put women in it, you know, but women they in it.
Yeah.
With 3 barley loaves and 2 fishes.
Mm-hmm.
To how much people he feed, and you know what happened to him? The same set of people come back and crucify him.
Yeah.
So shall it be in the end, in the beginning, so
shall it be in the end.
But nobody on the face of this earth could touch my doctor. None. You have to go back and think again. Because he don't have nobody that could think as he. Some of them, let me tell you, some of them, they have education. But they have to have common sense with it. So that have full of common sense. That he know how to do things, he know how to say things. And girl, he have a lot of people that they behind me too. As soon as I don't speak to you, they know somebody go call me and tell me they hate me. What I say in this. I don't care. Nobody can stop me. Nobody can stop
Yes, Miss
me.
Jacob, they can't stop you.
So my dear sweetheart, did Devon come today?
No, he didn't come today, no.
Sheldon come?
Yes, Sheldon is on the other side.
I know, because I hear Sheldon name call. And Brother Bola.
And Brother Bola is here.
Brother Bola, they on your side, eh?
Yes.
So I hope we having fundraising tomorrow, no?
Yes, I hear that.
I want to see you come up, eh?
I'll try my best. I'm not going to promise, but I will try.
Yes, try. Because if Redman coming, come with Redman.
Come with Redman?
Yes.
All right, I'll let him know.
Okay, sweetheart.
Okay,
Love
you too.
you, baby. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Guys, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. We are doing more damage to our country than the outsiders are. Let's just think about that for a minute. We're going to take a short break and then we'll be back with some, I don't want to call it juicina. It's not that juicy. I mean, I'd rather not talk about it because I don't see why. I do not see why we are making this. We Grenadians are the one making this thing a big issue, you know, when it really isn't. But we're going to talk about it when I come back. Let's take a short break.
Welcome to our program brought to you by the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority. The ban on the sale and offer for sale of single-use handled plastic bags comes into effect from the 1st of December 2019. This ban is in keeping with the Non-Biodegradable Waste Control Act, which seeks to regulate the use of non-biodegradable products with a view to reducing the negative environmental impacts of inevitable disposal of the products and improving the health of the people of the state of Grenada. For this morning's program, we will be answering some of the most frequently asked questions relevant to the implementation of the ban. Question: why is there a ban on plastic handle bags and not other larger and small sizes of plastic bags? The legislation is designed to tackle the most popular and challenging waste types in a systematic manner. Due to the huge quantities of handled plastic bags being improperly disposed of in the open environment and making its way to the landfill for final disposal, its negative effects on human health and our biological diversity, these bags were identified as suitable for imposing such a ban. The ban will not affect other types and sizes of plastic bags, for example, garbage bags. Question: why implement a ban on these items and not a charge at the checkout counter as done in some countries? The import ban is effected for the protection of human health and the environment. Allowing these products in, even at a cost to consumers, does not guarantee that they will not be improperly disposed of or contribute to our litter and pollution problems. You would appreciate that the existing sites for landfilling are limited, and finding alternate sites for landfill development is also a challenge. We ought to think in terms of creating less waste. Question: what happens if someone unknowingly imports a batch of plastic single-use shopping bags? If the imported bags are non-compliant with the Non-Biodegradable Waste Control Act 2018, it would be the responsibility of the importer to ship the batch of item or items off the island at his or her own expense. Therefore, importers are asked to verify with manufacturers and producers that the item or items have been tested and is compliant to the Non-Biodegradable Waste Control Act before making orders. Importers can contact the Ministry of Environment to confirm that desired products are compliant prior to ordering. At the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority, we welcome the legislation regarding single-use handled plastic bags and styrofoam plastic food containers. We ask that everyone support the ban as we seek to lessen on the approximately 7,000 tons of plastic waste types making its way to the landfill for final disposal each year, picking up what little valuable space there is left for landfilling. Before we end this morning's program, a message from the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries and Disaster Management.
On December 1st, the ban on the offer for sale of single-use plastic handle bags comes into effect. This follows the 1st February import and manufacture ban. The poor management of single-use plastics has weighed negatively on our health, the environment, and economy, impacting tourism, pollution of on-land water systems and marine ecosystems, and has undoubtedly contributed to the huge quantities of waste filling up our landfills. Support the ban. Next time you go shopping, walk with durable, reusable shopping bags. December 1st, out with the old, in with a bold new commitment to protection of our environment. Kick the plastic bag habit. Support the ban. A message from the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries and Disaster Management.
This has been our presentation for today. Do join us again next time for another program from the Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority.
My enemies' walls are bound to crumble, and to the floor their spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love, but time to battle, I'll fight them all. I felt the whips and remember chains, but my sword has been forged by my father's flames. Fight your fears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name.
I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core.
All right, guys, and we are back. Remember, the lines are open. It's 440-7377 for local calls, 440-7377 for WhatsApp messages, 347-329-3101 for those of you in the diaspora that wish to call and contribute to the conversation. Of course, remember, you can join us live. Make your comments there. We'll be more than happy to read your comments, share with everyone if you want us to, what you have to say. And of course, we are live on YouTube as well. So it's about to get a little bit more interesting. Of course, we have a very interesting topic that we want to talk about this morning. I wonder if I should bring it up. Let me take that call first and I'll bring it up after. Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Ms. Duncan.
Good morning, how are you?
Doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, Ms. Duncan, when I listen to the budget, we see there are a lot of job opportunities, a lot for the Grenadian people. And the job opportunities is spread right throughout the island. You have jobs in the hotel, in the construction, in St. David, St. George, St. Patrick. So every parishes we receive good reward. And they will be proud and happy that the young men, young ladies, will employ because there is jobs coming. You have the Simmons Expansion Cultural Development Center, more jobs again. The expansion of the tourism project and upgrade of site, more jobs again. You have the rehabilitation and expansion of the Morris Bishop International Airport, more jobs. Million more will be spent on construction of farm roads throughout the island. Ms. Duncan, when you look at that, a lot of job opportunities, that will benefit the greater people, make greater people life be better, and we could see development in the country. Because when you look at the road, when you look at their life are much more developed. Because right now we could stand and testify the greater people are much better off today than from 2008 to 2013, and because of a caring government, a government that love people. Because when you love people, it is important. Because people is important in everything that it does. Yeah. You cannot build and then leave people behind. To build, you must build people. And this government is building the people of Greater Carriacou Department, making their life better, and making them proud to be Grenadian because of the many development. And when we look at the Caribbean, we can see Greater and Carriacou Department is the gem of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Ms. Duncan, you have a wonderful God bless you.
All right, you too. Thank you so much for your contribution. Of course, we know that this budget, this comprehensive budget, is filled with so much opportunities for our vulnerable and for, those people who really want to aspire better for their lives, right? Now, we're going to start to talk about something here that I know most, if not every Grenadian, has had an opportunity to look at and listen to. And I looked at it. I listened to it. Definitely didn't share it. But I look at things with the intention, and let me just take this quick call, and after I take this quick call, we'd continue with the conversation. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Cammy. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Duncan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good morning to Mr. Watts and Bingo and Mr. Bodine and Patty and Matthew in Canada. My friend from Carriacou in England. Good morning to you all guys. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, we're listening to you.
Miss Duncan, no. I have a problem inside where I live.
Mm-hmm.
There is some pallets there for the longest while.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to call and I tried to report it. And a lot of rats is breeding there and it's all along my place. I am cleaning and, you clean, the neighbor don't clean, and they have this garbage there, and it go affecting me because they're coming all in my place.
Yeah.
A lot of people go this morning to Busheju to sign for the contract. So I am appealing at this radio station, HARDTALK, because I know them listening, that they send in people to clean it. I would like them to remove. I would like them to remove that chocolate that thing that is there more than 2 years. There. For them to clean there. It's not right. It is not right.
Miss Cammy.
Call it over and over and party all radio stations in Grenada so that they could come and remove that there. I know it was in some other area that old board and then they come and throw it at your phone.
Miss Cammy. Miss Cammy.
And the Lancipine people talk about it. They are moving already.
Miss Cammy. Miss Cammy.
I cannot sit in my veranda to have my breakfast because that thing there is an ugly sight. It is not right.
All right, Miss Cammy.
So come and move it. You have a young man just walk when they cut that. He living in Mujesh, we have a shop. They could pay him to remove that. It's not right. I'm telling the last time.
Miss Cammy?
I'm telling for the last time.
I
Yes,
understand,
ma'am.
Miss Cammy.
Yes.
I understand that this is an issue that
I
is
listen to you.
upsetting to you. Do you know who is doing the dumping?
I'm listening to you, Miss Duncan.
All right. Do you know
Yes.
who is doing the dumping?
That's in the bushes area, Miss Duncan.
Okay. Which?
Speak on the radio, I'm listen. I cannot hear on the phone.
Oh boy. All right. Where in
It's not
Bushes?
right. It's not nice. I mean, I hear. Yes.
So we will take the note and pass it on to the relevant people.
Yeah.
Ministry of Health, probably we could even call solid waste.
Yeah.
So they could
So-
contact her.
So they can contact
No,
you.
I don't know who's dumping. One evening I came and I saw this truckload of garbage there. And then they bring another one and they dump it in front there. Some old pallets. I don't know who dropped them there. And it's more than 2 years.
Okay.
It's more than 2 years.
Okay, Miss Cammy, what
Right?
we're going to do is we're going
It's more
to
than 2 years and it's not nice.
we're going
I
to
live right
contact
in
the
village
relevant
there.
authorities.
I always call and speak about that.
Because
And
she's
it's
not
not
hearing
nice.
you right away.
Yeah.
Let's see what you say.
So, Miss Cammy, I know you're not hearing me right away, but what we'll do is we'll contact the relevant authorities in solid waste and maybe have them come by and take a look at it. right? I had to lower the volume because you weren't hearing me, and there's a delay on the radio, okay? So I didn't cut you off. I just in order to say this. So we do hear you, and I'm hoping that the relevant authority, they're listening as well. But we will contact them and see who we can get to come and take a look at it, okay? But thank you so much for calling and for letting us know about this. You know, I mean, this is a prevalent issue in Grenada where people don't take pride or enough pride in their country, you know, and they are just dumping things all over, you know. But guys, good morning. And let's welcome Mr. Bowler. Remember yesterday he said, I won't go back to what he said, but welcome, Mr. Bowler.
Good morning to you, Ms. Duncan. Good morning to the listening public. Good morning to all of your callers, all of your listeners. By whatever medium they are listening, I just want to say to them it's a good Friday. It's a happy Friday. It's Black Friday. A lot of, you know, business, a lot of deals. Some people are getting crazy in some parts of the world over the Black Friday deals. I'm just saying to you, while there are many deals, do not spend what you have no intention to spend. Do not go out of your way, out of spending what you have to leave on for the rest of December and probably the rest of the year. But make good use of what offers are out there. I am here again, not by choice, but because it was demanded of me to come on this morning. And so I am at the mercy of the host and whoever else that is in authority. But be that as it may, I wish you all a happy day.
All right. So, Mr. Bowler, before you came in, I was about to talk about an issue. I don't even want to call it a burning topic because personally I don't see it to be a burning topic. But as Grenadians, you know, we kind of sensational. So we do a lot and we say a lot, and sometimes we are not conscious enough of the problems that we are causing in the things that we do. So there has been a story circulating. What is it, Naz? Diplomats for sale? His headphones are on. Diplomats for sale, an Al Jazeera story. I know most of us have heard it. Most of us have listened to it. Some of us have not even listened to it in its entirety. We just take the sensational pieces out of it and we go ahead with it. So I'm going to break it down for you because apparently we need to break it down. It has to be broken down for some of us. So we have a media company who came to Grenada. Now, mind you, in order for them to come to Grenada, they have to be invited. What I would like to know, and I would like somebody to tell me, is what was the main purpose of these people inviting this media company to Grenada to do a story that is half-baked. And I'll tell you exactly why I call the story half-baked. Now, if you look at the story or listen to the story in its entirety, Mr. Paula, did you have an opportunity to listen to the story?
I did. Not in its entirety, but a large portion, a good percentage, more than 50% of the story, because it's in parts.
It's in parts.
Yes.
And mind you, the story does not only cover Grenada, it covers Dominica. It also makes alleged allegations towards countries like Antigua and St. Vincent and so on. And I looked at the story. I looked at the comments that we Grenadians were making as a result of the story. And I was deeply disappointed, Mr. Bowler, and deeply saddened. I don't know if you saw the comments or if you heard of the comments.
I heard about some of them.
I was deeply disappointed, yet again, in us as a people. And I'll tell you why I say that. I looked at people talking about Keith Mitchell selling Grenada again, and that is all the NNP good for, and corruption. And I would like anybody to point out where exactly in that story there was proof of corruption. I would like to know, Mr. Bola, in what you listened to, did you see them say, Al Jazeera say, that there was proof of corruption in Grenada?
Well, first and foremost, Ms. Duncan, my response will be, while you are so correct, nothing from what I've seen has given proof, has shown proof, but it was a lot of allegations and belief and hearsay. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, that story that is making the circle now, with the issues, are issues that have been dealt with thoroughly before.
Yes.
Many years ago, when in fact, was it at the 2008 election leading towards that, I believe there was this hot story about the Prime Minister of Grenada and the political leader of the New National Party receiving a briefcase of money that was considered to be a bribe. The political leader at the time spoke. He gave the nation an explanation of what transpired, that he never received any briefcase, that he went to do some promotional meetings and what have you, and that all that happened is that he used his personal funds and he was reimbursed to the sum of, I think, $15,000 or thereabout. Anyway, the main opposition party in the country at the time twisted it and tried to make political waves with it. An investigation was ordered by the supervised over by the Governor General. I think it was called the Cheltenham investigation, where persons who were believed to have some knowledge of the trip that the Prime Minister made were called in. Right. The investigation was done. The Cheltenham report came out and cleared the Prime Minister of any wrongdoing. I mean, we live in a country that where we continue to say that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Yes?
Correct.
Only this morning I had a conversation with two people, a gentleman and a young lady, and they was asking me about the same video, and I said, but this is, in my opinion, hogwash. These stories are stories that have hit the streets of Grenada many, many, many years before.
Yes.
There's nothing new. No new evidence was uncovered. There's nothing in the story to say, well, while there was an investigation before, we have now found new evidence. We can show you new pictures. Nothing. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I was disappointed at the end when the reporter said that the alleged tape that was being made of the Prime Minister accepting a briefcase of money was seized or confiscated by U.S. authorities. Now, if one, and that is specific now for our young people, whom I believe they're trying to target politically with those kind of videos. Now, if you said evidence flaming of an activity was confiscated, now, where did you get those photos that you're trying to show a briefcase with money?
Of course.
Is it another briefcase? If it is confiscated, where did that briefcase come from? How were you able to get the briefcase? So if you are saying in part of the story that the tape which holds the evidence, as you're saying in the story, has been confiscated, where then did you get a briefcase of money to put into the video that you have?
Exactly.
Did you get sight of the tape? Did you have privilege to see the tape? And if so, why didn't you show the entire tape?
But if we also look at this thing objectively, an investigation, when what's the gentleman's name? Restiner.
Yes.
When Restiner was arrested in the U.S. in 2006 and jailed, there was a complete court case surrounding it.
Yes.
Dr. Mitchell was made to speak in front of a jury to explain the allegations that were made surrounding this briefcase. Now, mind you, they had the tape in their possession because it was sealed away as evidence. They had the tape. They would have known if Dr. Mitchell received a briefcase with $500,000, and they would have made the relevant recommendations to the committee here that was doing the investigation as well, right? But they accepted Dr. Mitchell's delivery, which indicated that he would have received some $15,000 for travel expenses that he would have incurred and is just being reimbursed. They would have accepted that story simply because the tape showed no evidence of the man receiving this money that they claimed he received. That Restiner, that they are saying that Restiner also said that he had that tape so that Dr. Mitchell would not double-cross him. But yet still, the tape did not show any evidence of Dr. Mitchell receiving this kind of money.
But Restiner is in jail, so that tape should have been evidence to free him.
Of course.
So why wasn't it used to free him? I mean, we must think as a people, and let's understand the purposes why those things are being done. Dr. Mitchell is one of the people whom certain individuals, groups, organizations in this country have been for many, many years, as long as he has been the prime minister of this country, have been trying to destroy. They have used everything they know possible.
Absolutely.
Huh? Mm-hmm. They said he was a drug dealer. They said all sorts of things. Up till this day, with all of the accusations, they have not proven anything. But, I wanted to make the point when I told you that I spoke to two people this morning. And I said, well, this is just how gouache. These are things that has been dealt with. There was investigations. It has been confirmed that no wrongdoing ever happened. So it doesn't really interest me. I think it's just the same old stuff, just being reprinted, renewed in a different way, in a different form, trying to capture attention and bring sensationalism to the people. Mm-hmm. And then the gentleman looked at me and said, so how would you feel if sometime in the future they can find Dr. Mitchell guilty? And I responded by saying to him, it is well known that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Up until this very time, even with this foolish video that is being circulated, there's nothing in this video that can prove him guilty.
Yeah.
So I have to accept that he is innocent.
Absolutely.
And that this is pure propaganda, and it is an attempt to derail him and his government, to take away attention and focus from a wonderful budget that was just done. Look at the timing.
Look at the timing
of the release. The fact is, if you listen to the opposing party and the spokespeople, several of them attempted to speak on the budget, and up till today, they have not been able to say anything that can defeat this budget.
But Mr. Bola, more so, and I want to add to what you just said, more so, without looking at the video, without the allegations, let's just look at the persons that were interviewed in this video. Persons like Jude Bernard and George Worm and George Grant. People who we know for a fact have an axe to grind with the political leader and his party. These were the only people who had something to say as it relates to these allegations. And even within their video or their presentation, still could present no proof of the allegations. So then why do it? What was the goal in all of that? If not only to try and discredit our prime minister, but not realizing that, or maybe they even realize and don't care, that in the discrediting of the prime minister, you have just opened up Grenada in a negative light to the world.
Well, they have been doing that for decades. It's just that they take it one step further this time. I mean, to speak to an international news agency and to make believe. But there again, one has to ask themselves other questions. We believe strongly, listening and looking at what is shown in the video. We strongly believe the purposes for doing it is to discredit, to put in a bad light our Prime Minister, as they have always been attempting to do, to cause him, the government, and of course the party to lose focus on what is most important to us now.
Yes.
The continued growth and development of Grenada, helping the poor people of this country, allocating funds that will help and deal with the social ills, housing and health, the fact that we do have issues with health at this moment, and that the government is trying as much as possible, doing everything that is possible to bring in NHI and to bring it in a manner that it can help promote better health, preventative health care, primary health care, and of course deal with some of the aging issues that we have in the health sector, the fact that we're losing some of our most experienced and valuable nurses, the way we need to restructure the payment structure, the salary scales of these nurses and other medical people, how we can better manage our hospital and as a result manage the health care of Grenadians. All of these things they want us to lose focus on and to concentrate and try to defend. But there is nothing to defend.
There's nothing to defend.
Because you are making baseless accusations, which you have made many times before, many years before, and it all came to naught because there's absolutely no proof. But I remember there was a newspaper article on then the Grenada Today, which is now the New Today, with two gentlemen on in a photo saying they have the tape. I remember a particular politician from St. Andrews inviting people to come to a meeting in Munich and wherever and said, we have the tape, we're going to show it. I remember several other people who was opposed to the New National Party and are opponents of Dr. Mitchell for whatever reason, claiming. So all of a sudden, all of these people who had the tape and had copies of the tape and were going to show it and going to bring the proof, all of a sudden, none of them can come forward with a tape or with the proof, and suddenly it has been confiscated.
And sealed away as evidence.
Sealed away as evidence. So, what are we dealing with here? What are we talking about? Pure nonsense? People just trying to refocus our attention to things that doesn't really matter. So to me, the only people that I believe they may be able to create some interest among would be our young people, who has to be very careful, because what you need to do is not just take everything you see or hear wholesale. Whether you hear it from me, you hear it from Al Jazeera, you hear it from the NDC, you hear it from Kem Jones, you hear it from whoever. Always take time to check, investigate, ask questions, talk to people who have experience and who would know. Because this war is not a new one. This story is not a new story. What is being waged now is not something that started yesterday or the day before. It is something that has been going on for years and years and years, and they're just trying to reform it and bring it in new ways to try to capture attention and hopefully votes.
But let's look at the because the younger generation probably would not understand, or they would not know or have knowledge of this briefcase issue. Or even if they do, they won't have the in-depth knowledge because they were too young to really remember. But if we look at it, as you explained, it has been an issue that has gone through the mill, that has been investigated. There has been a court hearing as a result of it. Nobody has come forward with new information. Even the international news team that came and did their investigation found nothing new. So then why are we as Grenadians making this thing bigger than it even is?
Because we like sensationalism. And some of us, not all Grenadians, some of us are happy when we hear things that we believe can destroy or pull down the name Kit Mitchell. We don't care what it does to the country. We are not concerned about how Grenada is seen outside of here. We are not concerned that people who probably might be thinking about investing, about coming to live in Grenada, and all the positive things that are being said, that we can affect it in a negative way. That is not important. Our primary concern, those who are intent on spreading and bringing that story up, their primary concern is to see the back of Kate Mitchell, to destroy the man who has worked almost a lifetime
to build Grenada,
to help build this country, has sacrificed time and effort. A man who has left a job of his own choice. No one had asked him, but he thought Grenada has done well for him. He must now come back and give back to Grenada, give his service. He happened to be giving his service in one of the highest institutions of the land as the Prime Minister. And am I to sit here and say, as Prime Minister for so many years, that Dr. Mitchell has never made a mistake, has never done anything that could have been done differently? I will be out of my mind to say so. But let's compare the amount of good, the amount of lives that through his work and policies and his government putting measures in place and creating the environment that allows people to thrive. He has done far more good for Grenada and Grenadians than any amount of wrongs that you can put up against him. Take, for example, I heard Mr. Roberts recently talking about, and that's Mr. Kennedy Roberts. Now, why is Dr. Mitchell boasting about the debt to GDP ratio? And what is that? The OECS target is 60%, and Grenada is 55 or 58.5, whatever that percentage is. And why is he squeezing Grenadian? How are you squeezing Grenadian? I mean, Mr. Roberts, you are an intelligent gentleman, and you oftentimes speak when you're on radio or television about your academic exploits and the fact that you've been teaching in SGU for over 20 years and what have you. What are the factors that determine whether your debt to GDP ratio rise or fall? What are the factors? How can you be squeezing Grenadians by your debt to GDP ratio falling? From what I know, and I am not an economist, and I don't boast myself of being having all knowledge and skills, but if your economy grows and there's greater productivity, your GDP goes up, and so your debt to GDP ratio will drop. Mm-hmm. Or secondly, if your debt stock drops, in contrast to your GDP, the ratio will fall. So how could that be a bad thing? Either way, or both. If your country becomes more productive and your economy is growing, is that a bad thing? And how does that squeeze Grenadians? If your debt stock drop, as we know it has in Grenada, due to skillful negotiations and debt forgiveness and haircuts and so from our creditors, is that a bad thing for Grenada? The fact that we are saving over $100 million annually on debt repayment, how is that a bad thing for Grenada? So all of these positives, they want to push aside by coming with this foolishness about briefcase and what passport sale to ambassadors and all kind of foolishness with absolutely no proof. Bring the proof and let us deal with the issue.
Absolutely. Now let's get into that passport for sale. And I know the lines are going crazy, guys. We're going to start taking calls at 11:30 because we really want to discuss this thing properly, you know. And I want to talk about this passport sale business for a moment. So we have them. And you would see the trend here. You'll see the trend. And it's important for us to listen. And this is why before we started, I encouraged the Grenadians that when we read and when we look at things, we must look at it to understand and then respond, and not to respond first. And then somebody has to explain it for us to understand after. Right? We're doing it backwards. We must understand first and then respond after. So I looked at the video and they brought up the issue of what's that gentleman's name in Silver Sands? The gentleman in Silver Sands, Suarez. Right. If I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly, I apologize. They are saying that the Prime Minister paid the Prime Minister monies to become the ambassador to Grenada of France, in France. Now, I listened to the entire program, the entire thing. Two issues popped up to me immediately. The issue of how the opposition was so adamant of the fact that he must not build Silver Sands, and how Grandad's Beach was for sale, and how he was going to bar people from going into Grandad's Beach, and all of that nonsense. And they failed. They had failed in convincing Grenadians that he was doing a bad thing, because he had proven to them that that was not so. So they moved from that to try and make Grenadians believe that Camahan Park was for sale. Now, let me be very clear, and you would be able to weigh in on that because you were in government at the time. If we go back and do a research and listen to when the gentleman had spoken, Camahan Park was never up for sale. And even within the documentary itself, they said that it was the redevelopment of the Camahan Park. So the plan was to develop and improve Camahan Park to match the development that was going to happen next to it, which was the phase 2 of Silver Sands. But then we had people like Mr. Jude Bernard, who would have appointed himself Save the Park Committee. And they would have put together a committee to save Camahan Park. And they had all sorts of protests and all sorts of nonsense. I want to know how much of them have invested in taking care and maintaining the park in its current construct. How many of them visit the actual park? For them to go now and say, don't redevelop it. So we could have had a park that had better seating facilities, better bathroom facilities, an area for the children to play, and all of these things, because the gentleman was going to use his monies to redevelop that park and to ensure that it was better suited for Grenadians, and so that the people who were coming to his hotel as well could utilize something of top quality. Now you hear these same people talking about, the government need to fix the slides and the monkey bars that are there in the present park and all of that nonsense. Why are you now not the ones in this big Save the Park committee raising funds? Yeah, you had all kind of barbecue and all kind of things to run a committee to save the park. Use those same funds now to go and fix the monkey bars and the swings and so on that the children have to use, because you were the ones who opposed the redevelopment of it.
Well, I don't know if I could have said what you said any better. Because, sometimes I say we're not very objective in the way we think as Grenadians and the way we do things. Our focus is on the destruction, as they are again trying to do. And I have to repeat that. Trying to make Dr. Mitchell out as the devil. Mm-hmm. That he has no good intentions for Grenada. I mean, this is a gentleman who in his lifetime as Prime Minister has built 2 stadia in Grenada. We had the first one, first stadia, cricket and football and athletics separate, that was destroyed by Hurricane Ivan. Came back and was able to negotiate with the government and people of the People's Republic of China, got us to state-of-the-art stadia that we enjoy, that has a least 1 or first class rating from international raters. We have this gentleman in his lifetime in politics had built a new hospital And now they are finalizing the completion of the second phase of that hospital.
Yeah.
A gentleman who in his lifetime, you're seeing a new facility, state-of-the-art, being built in St. John's for health. A gentleman who, during his lifetime, as the Prime Minister, has negotiated and got the people and government of China to promise and have already promised 2,000 low-income houses for Grenadians. Have already constructed and have people occupying over 364. Yeah. And there's another 500 plus that is under construction at the moment, including Carriacou. Yeah? A gentleman who during his lifetime has seen to it that we build a proper, well-equipped cruise ship terminus.
Yeah.
But with acres of land around it, that new businesses. In fact, he has expanded Grenada and has vision of doing more. A gentleman who during his lifetime we have seen the development of sporting facilities such as Lassagias and Progress Park and Cuthbert Peters Park in Gov, up to standards that regional cricket and football can be played on them.
Yeah.
Many schools have been repaired, have been enlarged in Convent Grenville, Convent St. George's, the GBSS. St. David's Catholic Secondary got some repairs and lands have been allocated and funds has been worked on to build brand new school. SARS in Grenville, I've had several bits of expansion. During his lifetime as Prime Minister, we have seen not just the rehabilitation, but a completely new fish market being built in St. George's, a bus terminus in St. George's, a fish market in Grenville, negotiations for a bus terminus, the market in Grenville, the market in St. George's, a fish, a first-class standard in Gov. And we can go on and on. Roads and bridges and the water sector. These things very few people want to remember.
Of course not.
Because they're not sensational.
Yeah.
We use them and we look for more. And he continued to strive to do more. The government that he's in charge of continue to want to work to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's a whooping $5 million increase in the allocation for housing for poor people, for repairs through the Ministry of Social Development. But we're not interested in that.
No.
For those of us who never wants to acknowledge that Dr. Mitchell, as a humble Grenadian, from humble beginning, from Happy Hill, whose grandmother was a fish vendor and his mother was a market vendor, that it is too much accolades for him to accept him as the Prime Minister who has done so much. Is he without sin? Absolutely not. I can't say so. But the Bible says, he who is without cast the first stone. Yeah. All those who are casting stones at him and trying to ensure that you discredit him and you character assassinate him, tell us, compare yourself to him. In your lifetime, tell us your achievements, not just your personal achievements, but tell us how much you have done. What have you been participating in? Yeah. How much you have negotiated for Grenada? What have you brought to the play that Grenadians can benefit from?
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Absolutely.
Let us know, because you are hell-bent on trying to make him out as the devil himself, doing all sorts of things to Grenada, destroying this country. Tell us the ways in which you have been doing it. And they are all accusations.
Yeah.
Not one thread of fact you can bring forward. Because I think the Grenadian people are sensible enough that if you are able to bring evidence of facts, that they will demand that an inquiry be done, which was done anyway before.
Yeah.
That you prove yourself and prove him wrong. I have strong faith in Dr. Mitchell.
Absolutely.
I will not say, like a parliamentarian once before said in Parliament, that they're going to follow the political leader and Prime Minister blindly. I would want to keep my eyes open. I would want to make sure that we're going in the correct direction. I would want to be able to help and to say to Dr. Mitchell, who I know personally, not only as my leader, but as a friend, always says, listen, I am human just like you. So I'm always prepared to listen. So if I follow him blindly, I won't be able to tell him if we're going down a precipice.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Simmons, I wouldn't follow you and say I'll follow the Prime Minister blindly. I would follow him with my eyes wide open. But I trust him. I have faith in him. I have confidence in him. I believe he means well. I think he wants to see this country move forward. He has proven himself time and time and time again. He's a people's person. He's concerned about the well-being of every Grenadian.
Absolutely.
Yes? He falls short sometimes. He's not able to please and satisfy every one of us. He has not been able up until this time to fulfill every single dream that the 110,000 Grenadians have. But by and large, he has sacrificed and done things that has made this country a better place, that has brought progress to the lives of many, that has opened the eyes of some who never thought they would see better days. They're living a better life. They're seeing better days. And they will continue to see better days as long as he remains at the helm of this country. Let us as Grenadians respect that. Let us also respect that he's human. Let us also respect the fact that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Absolutely. And I still await to see any evidence of fact, whether it's from this Al Jazeera report and video or from any other documentary that is done or may be done in the future to prove what they're saying is true.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because even in the Al Jazeera's video, they stated that there is, and this is verbatim, there is no evidence that Suarez paid the Prime Minister for his ambassadorship, right? They even went further to highlight Leo Ford, who was the gentleman responsible for the shrimp farm in St. Mark, the shrimp farm that everybody is making all this noise about. What happened to the shrimp farm? And there was so much corruption in the shrimp farm and all of that. When Dr. Mitchell himself would have stopped the development of the shrimp farm and started an investigation into it in March, they highlighted that. Leo even went further to say that there was a gentleman by the name of Soren Dwowdy, who Leo said that he was promised an ambassadorship because Dwowdy, was supposed to find the funding for the shrimp farm, right? Leo said that Dwowdy would have received an ambassadorship or paid for an ambassadorship for that investment. The same Al Jazeera report turned around and said that Leo denied that he was even offered an ambassadorship, right? And stated that the money was not missing. And on top of that, they went further to say that Dwowdy is saying that this is a vendetta. That Leo Ford has a vendetta. And that is the reason why. So there's no evidence that Suwali would have received, that would have paid for ambassadorship. There's no evidence that there was corruption in the shrimp farm and sale of an ambassador's diplomatic passport to become an ambassador. There's no evidence of Prime Minister receiving money from this alleged $500,000 briefcase. No evidence. And all of this is not me saying that there is no evidence. The same reports that everybody is sharing all over the place, had they listened to it properly, would have identified that the people are still saying there is no evidence.
And that's what is important. That's why I said earlier on, listen, whether it is me speaking or any other person, listen. It is important that you do. And you can also do your own investigations. You don't have to take our word for it. You have the video, a friend send it to you, take a little time, sit, listen carefully. Listen to it more than once. It's all hearsay and accusations, and you would hear and see the people who are speaking. Known opponents, fierce fighters.
Of course.
Warriors in another army that are ready to cut the Prime Minister, the political leader, and the new National Party to pieces. They're spitting fire. They tried it before. It didn't work. It's just a new plot with the same old tools, the same old materials. Yes, you're going to take a call.
So we have a call on the line. Let's take this first call. Good morning, caller.
Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Bola, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, it's me, Oscar.
Yes, I'm listening to you. I make the voice out.
Yes, well, first of all, it's so strange that I'm on a private chat with some friends in Jamaica, from the Jamaica Labour Party.
Yes.
And funny, today they spoke about it, and my friends in Jamaica, and what they're saying is that they say when they do their investigation and everything, they realize that this thing is just lies and propaganda. And one thing that they asked me, they said they wanted to know if persons who are Grenada, who belong to different public relations body at the party, different constituency and supporters, they said they wonder if they intend to say something about it on social media, calling and programs about it, because they said studies show them that all these things are just lies. They listen to the tweets and they realize that the Prime Minister is innocent.
Yeah.
Understand? And they said they hope that the public relations body from different PDs or what constituency will do something about it. That is one. Two, before I go, this St. Andrew's Southwest will have a youth cocktail on 7th of December, and we are asking all youths all over Grenada, including elderly folks, to come and support the St. Andrew's Southwest, led by Mr. Judge, Senator John Kenneth. We want everybody to come out. So Mr.
What you said, 7th December? 7th December?
7th of December.
So that means the date has been changed, because I thought I heard it before announced as 38th.
30th.
Yes.
Changed to the 7th at the Twilight Club right in Belleville. We want all youths come out. So, Mr. Bola, all I can say is that it's just political strategy to disconnect the party, but it can't work with Mr. Bola. We're wasting the time.
Thank you for that, because we know this is stale bread. This is, really stale. It's nothing new. Briefcase again. They have tried that for several elections. Yeah. And they come back. I wish, or I thought. Let me not say wish, because I really thought that with all of the hype about the new political leader and so, that we might have seen something more forceful and different, meaningful and well organized. But it appears as though they continue to go down. Because I am not going down, and I don't know that our party is prepared to go down that road with them.
They are going down.
The same old slippery slope.
We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan, Mr. Bola.
Good morning. Very well.
Great. Few things I want to say. First and most of all, I would like people in the media, I'm not saying they should, to Dr. Mitchell, but the leadership, I think when they speak, they should speak with respect. Okay? Now, if you were speaking to young people, sir, and I cannot disgusting name the leader the Prime Minister is being called with,
yeah,
and you want to draw your attention to the young people, is this the way you do it? Yeah?
We're listening.
I don't know if you follow the other program on the other side. It was just
sometimes, not all the time, but
yeah,
we know the
it
kind
is
of
just-
derogatory
it is
terms.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Because you have to lead with a respect. Okay? If you're not showing respect to the young ones, how on earth do you expect these people to follow you? Yeah? That means you question the intellect. I don't know if you understand where you're coming from.
No, I'm getting you. I'm catching up with you.
This is not the way, because if you're a true, honest politician and you're trying to prove a point, then you have to do it in a respectful way. I have been following this program since Alan Campbell's time.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, if my memory calls, none of the hosts from then to Eon to Sheldon to now you, Ms. Duncan, have used any disgusting language against any form of the opposite side.
That is because we understand respect for people and respect for institution.
Right. So whoever it is, they should be respected. Right? And I am, looking at the video, I've been seeking the permission for a long time to speak on this. Looking at the video, late Mr. Leslie Pierre, once, I think from a distance I had a conversation with him. You always go for clarity as a media person. Yeah?
Yes, you should.
If you're going to visit a story, you have to visit it with clarity.
Yeah.
Some of these stories that has been dealt with. And what is the point you're trying to prove?
Yeah.
Yeah? Majority of stories were being dealt with. And it is just disgusting. And I don't know how Al Jazeera fall in that pit.
It's the same question I'm asking.
Sorry?
It's the same question I'm asking.
It is just disgusting. I mean, why was not the other media? Okay, all right, you say, okay, majority of the guys who were there, they came from that end of the world or whatever it is, yes, and they have and again, Ms. Duncan, with respect, they came into the island. I think there should be some form of licensing should be done. Nobody should visit anybody's country and do a video like this.
Yeah.
Yeah? And look at the people who did some interview, or look at the people who actually end up on the video doing the interviews. So their motives are to destabilize the country. Yeah?
Yep,
they want to see, they want to bring on an election. Put people on alert of all kind of nonsense. This is not the way to do it. Because you see, as you will see, the economy is up and rolling. When they won office, what happened? They have nothing to do. Yeah? Everything was on the back.
On a standstill.
Yeah? Everything. So now you see something going on, you want to come and take it and up and run with it? No, not so. I think the Grenadian people, they took this video and up and run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't run with everything as killers say. No, they can't take everything and run with it. Try to understand it. It's common sense, my God. Yeah. If you're a true honest Grenadian or a true politician, you want to do something for the country, this is not the way to do it.
It's not.
This is not the way to do it. Think about your children. Yeah? So, this is not the way to do it.
Caller, what they're basically saying to us is that they are willing to destroy Grenada to get into power, to try and build it from the ashes. That's not the way to go.
Yeah, but there has been failed on a Ms. Duncan across the board. Nothing is working for you. This is what you're going to do again. These are the stories which have been, I think if it's a live story, if you give Lacroix or they refuse to take it and bury it as a death story.
Has been beaten so bad before.
Yeah,
many
this is
times
nonsense.
Before. Yeah.
I mean, I respect, let me say it, so the foreign people should not be appointed as ambassadors. I will encourage the government, if there's a certain thing like that in the whole, in making, they should revisit the whole program and reset it, okay?
Yeah.
But don't blow it out of proportion.
But as you touch that, caller, let me just say, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. People have to be vetted. It has happened, even in Grenada, since the days of Sir Eric Matthew Geary. There have been foreign ambassadors. A lot of countries do it because you find people in a certain place, you do your checks and balance, you make sure that they are credible individuals, and that they have the ability to do things that can help your country, and it doesn't come at a cost to your country, because it's very costly to appoint ambassadors who are local and to send them in all the various places in the world that you have, diplomatic relations.
I know. There's a heavy fee goes behind
more than salaries and so housing and all those things. So a lot of countries are doing it. Even the United States of America does it. They use foreign people, foreign diplomats, people from other countries to represent their interests in those countries. So we have to make sure in doing it that the people we appoint are people who have been well checked out, that the necessary checks and balances are being done. So we don't want to say don't do it. We just need to say be extremely
do it. I mean, what I'm saying, as I said, do it in the most safer way.
In the safest way. Be very careful so that you don't bring disrepute to the country.
Definitely. I mean, you don't want somebody else's career to be spoiled or your career to be spoiled. Let's do it in this in more respectful. But people, I was so disappointed. This thing taking all sort of roads. It is just not the way to go. I don't think this make any sense at all. It don't make any sense at all. This is not nice for the country. This is just a political this motivated. I don't know who is paying for this nonsense. I won't pay for anything of this such nation.
Well, there are some who would and some who are willing to.
If you take it from a journalist point of view, there's nothing in there.
Nothing. You traveled all the way from this country to come to Grenada to talk about there is no evidence in these allegations, basically.
Yeah, but that the journalist who came there has no Al Jazeera accent. I question that as well. There has no Al Jazeera accent. That is a North American accent.
Okay.
You listen to the graffiti. There is no, because if it's an Al Jazeera accent, you're telling me there's a person from Middle East.
Yeah.
So you have to have a form of, what should I say, the tone of the language coming in, which I'm not seeing.
Okay.
So who is the person? Do Al Jazeera know about this?
Well, we don't know. Investigations will be carried out to verify,
Yeah, but this is not nice. This is not nice for the country. This is not the way how you get people to vote for you.
It's not.
Yeah.
Well, let them continue to try with the funny ways, with the...
Yeah, but I'm making every Grenadian look stupid. Look, everybody, they're just feeding with nonsense.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, don't do that. Don't do that to the young people. They will never buy this story, I could tell you. Because there are people who went around feeding, want to give chocolate to people in the, what do you call it, in the college. And they tell them, we want your chocolate. Can't vote for you.
Okay, we understand. We just need to continue to educate our people, bring them the facts, and hopefully they will understand.
I would like to see a lot of people look up to Dr. Mitchell, and I wish Dr. Mitchell could maybe appear on a couple of programs. Maybe it's not for long. If it's a short, just to clarify and let people understand what it is. I mean, yes, this is nothing, it's absolutely nonsense, but I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at the future of my children.
Yes.
And other people, everybody's children, the young one is everybody's children.
Yeah.
And they need to understand that, because I'm telling you, when my children was not registered and they get young, I go and tell them who to vote for.
Yeah. We understand.
Yeah, and they went on their own. They was disgusting looking at the TVs when this thing. And said, "Daddy, what is this?" I said, "You look at it and understand it. You understand English, right?"
Yeah.
Yes. I said, "Okay, go ahead, do what you have to supposed to do. I don't have to tell you. Simple as it is."
Yep.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, caller. Thank you so much for.
Bye. Have a good day, Mr. Bola. Have a good shift.
You man, you take care.
Yeah.
All the best. Good weekend.
Yeah, the caller hit the nail right on the head. I mean, for one man, you're willing to destroy a whole country. And as I was saying earlier before you got here, these things, I hadn't yet made the connection. These things, especially a video like this, we don't see the damage that it does to a country. We may say, oh, well, it's just a video. You don't have no evidence. If I share it here, there, and everywhere, it's no big deal because people can see it's not true. Or I'm sharing it as a joke, or whatever it may be. We don't see that Grenada apart from what we make in revenues, depend heavily on loans and grants. Something like this that can destroy the character of Grenada and our Prime Minister, that can destroy his credibility. We do not see that this can do damage in that area, that less people have faith in the fact that they can invest in Grenada. Less people have faith in the fact that they can give Grenada a loan for its development.
And maybe that's what they're hoping for, Duncan, because if that happens, they think if that happens, the economy would come at a halt. The progress that we have been making, the ability to keep Grenadians happy would die, and that they would get an opportunity to go at the hem. So you never know.
We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
The air of the angels sing. This is what I say. That man will live forevermore because of Christmas Day. Like Mr. Bola.
Thank you, sir. Carriacou in the house.
Well, like Carriacou again, big man.
Yes, we know that. Carriacou in the house.
So you're good?
Very, very good. Very good.
Well, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Yes, and we're just trying to find out why these people are doing the things they're doing. I mean, we know they want power. We know they like to be in charge. That's a given. But there is a time and a place.
Leave them to Almighty.
Leave them to the Almighty.
That's
okay. You know, your guy always gives good thoughts to me. He always encourages me and tell me what are the things I should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, well,
So
I've got something there for you.
Yeah.
Now, if 6 birds on a branch and 1 fly, how much wings on the branch?
But I don't know why you just do that for me.
Yeah?
6 birds on a branch and one
fly. How much wings on the branch?
On the branch. So we would have 14 wings.
How you get the 14?
Well, 6 birds with 2 wings, that's 12. The fly had 2 wings as well.
Congratulations. I'll top up on your period.
Boy, I tell you, every day you ask your question, I just get it. Yeah, so I hope you're saving up my money.
You know.
Save up my money.
Yeah?
Save up my money for me.
How much you want?
Now, when we see face to face, we go talk. You see, this thing about money, we have to be careful because they don't.
Give me a number so we could talk behind bars.
They don't say already that that's why the video accusing our Prime Minister about money and passport, all kind of foolishness that make absolutely no sense.
Well, they
with
say
no
it's
evidence.
exact way. We ain't gonna know they're alive, you know.
Yes.
So they say they have to talk for we know they're alive.
Oh, that's why they're talking. Because they have nothing else to say. But somebody once said, well, if you don't have nothing good to say, just shut your mouth.
According to my father, what's the bust no hole on your body, you know? They just talk.
Okay.
Yeah, they just talk, man.
So we go deal with them.
So you have a good day, right?
You have a blessed one, a good Christmas season.
You
We
too,
must
brother
see
Bola.
before Christmas. And I'm waiting for you next week, please, God.
Black one, yeah.
I'm waiting for you next week, please, God. Come with your questions again.
All right, I'm going to see if I can drink a glass of black wine there with some ice.
All right, take your time. Enjoy from me and
jealous,
you.
you know, because yours day.
I know mine there. When we come
Yeah,
up for
man.
Christmas, we go get that.
Yeah, no problem.
We drinking black wine for Christmas.
Black wine and ice.
And ice. I hear you.
When drinking the ice, you know, put in the ice. What cake you like? You like the black cake or the one the icing cake?
You ever hear about a fella called Scrampy?
Huh?
You ever hear about a fella called Scrampy? He used to sing calypso. He's a police officer.
Yeah, I heard him.
And he sing out a Christmas song.
Yeah,
And he one say, give me the cake in front, Vero. Give me the cake in front, Vero. You ever hear that one?
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Well,
Enjoy your day.
If you imitate people, so you will get to start for yourself and you will go good.
I hear you.
You get very good at imitating, man.
I hear you.
Right?
Later, my bro.
Okay, brother Bola.
Nice.
All right. It's always good to get a little laugh.
A little laughter. Our
Amongst
favorite
everything.
friend. Our favorite
But
friend.
we have a caller, not a caller, sorry, on WhatsApp. We have a few comments. Someone is saying, I feel when you have to resort to lies and propaganda to convince for votes, it means you have nothing to offer. And that is a very true statement. Because if you have something to offer, you'll tell us what you have.
Well, they have something to offer. It's just that what they have to offer is no good. It's lies and propaganda. That's what they have.
Absolutely.
And that's what they have always had
Yes.
over the years. So
Yes.
people would read into them. And it just makes matters worse for them.
Right? Somebody else is saying, it's just unbelievable that an organization have been doing the same or saying the same thing that didn't work for them, and they're expecting a different results. Have education is really not common sense. Politics is a science and an art, and if you don't understand that, you are wasting your time.
Well said. Very well said.
Right? Somebody else here is saying, we don't want anybody to represent us, and when you look at the... Oh, Lord. Sorry, retype it for me. I didn't quite understand that comment. But it just goes to show. I mean, it's a terrible thing. I feel bad for us as a people that we promote. And that's why we always say, not everything you receive is meant to be shared. Because sometimes you might share something as a joke, but you are part and you are contributing to the problem.
Yeah, you become part of the problem.
You become part of the
Once
problem.
you're not creating a solution or bringing forward a solution, then you become part of the problem. The sad thing is, when our people have to resort to this destructive means of trying. I mean, an election, and Grenada is a totally democratic state. We have been for the last 30 or so years, been having our duly constituted election on time. Every political party has a free and fair opportunity to canvass and to speak to the people and to have their political meetings and so forth. And I don't understand why some people who are destined, they want to, they're trying hard, but maybe they're trying too hard and they're using the wrong methodology. Well, to me, maybe to them, it's the correct thing to do. Let's destroy one man. Let's get rid of him.
By all means.
By any means necessary.
Yeah.
Take his head off, show him up out there as the worst Grenadian that ever lived. And that will be sufficient for us to capture power. But mind you, Grenadians are still very, very sensible.
Yes.
The voting population understands that it is not just hearsay. It is not just bad-mouthing another man. It's about the plans and programs that you bring forward. It's about telling people what your intentions are. But more than telling, it's about showing. Because a lady said to me one time, your actions are so loud that I can never hear your words.
Yeah.
And this is what we're seeing from some of these people. They say one thing. They appear in front of the camera to be calm.
Yeah.
They appear to be speaking volumes, but their actions oftentimes are so loud that people don't listen or hear a word that they say. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to caution our people. Yes, we need to read. We need to check Facebook. We need to check all of the things that come our way. But let us analyze. So we have another caller?
Yeah, we have an overseas call on the line. Good morning, caller. Oh, no, we seem to have lost that call. Caller, if you are listening, you can go ahead and give us a call back. But we do have a local call on the line. Oh, we seem to have lost that one too. Oh, there we go. It's coming back. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan.
Good morning.
Brother Bowler.
Good morning.
Brother Nazim B. and Brother Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
I'm always a simple person, and I'm going to be quick. I could say a lot. My blood is boiling.
Wow.
I'm going to be redundant. In the book of Isaiah, it says, no weapon form against you shall prosper.
Absolutely.
I'm sending that message to the Prime Minister again. And I'm sending it to the opposition too. There are things coming down the pipeline for them, you know.
Yes.
I just ain't saying them yet.
Okay.
No weapon of form against the Prime Minister. NDC, no weapon form against this Prime Minister shall prosper. Try all you can. There's another story. A man built a gallows to kill Mordecai. And you know who fell in the gallows? On the gallows? The same man.
Yeah.
God bless you all.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, caller. We have another caller. Let's take this call quickly.
Hello, Ms. Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Well, Mr. Bola, good morning.
Good morning,
Mr.
my
Bola,
dear.
you speak a book.
Good morning.
You speak a book this morning, and I did hear this morning listening to you. And Grenadians even know better. Mr. Bola, if you look at this thing, it's a set of people, a set of haters.
Yes.
Them that do mischief.
Yes.
They will take care of us in Grenada, they can't take care of us. You know, the Prime Minister taking care of me, Camille.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
They can't get it over they will get a 15-0 again. George, one of them can't take care of us.
Well, it's you saying that, not me.
By yourself. Behave by yourself and leave the man alone.
Of course.
This is a man that cares about poor people as me.
Yes.
I can't walk. Right? And if he's not taking care of me and others,
Yes.
how much house and silence are you put on the man that's talking? How much house are you give for people in Grenada? How much silence? How much $300 are you giving one hand in the month old people? Dude, one of them are you behave by yourself?
Yeah.
And stop plotting this documents. Stop it. And leave Dr. Kit Mitchell alone.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But Allegheny cannot stop nothing. 15-0 again, are you getting?
Yeah, you can.
15-0. Grenadians is not stupid people. We know better than that.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
We know better than that. Miss Camille telling all of that.
Yeah.
Camille, a former NDC supporter.
Okay. Miss
Leave the man
Camille.
alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
As you, Mr. Bola said, who is something can't be supposed to?
Yes.
Can't be supposed to.
We wait for them.
And leave the man alone. Hey.
Absolutely.
And if you hear how much things it Mitchell do, and then the same terminal making all around.
Right. The same
Or you
terminal.
could not have built the terminal.
Yeah.
And you drive with for people making the dollar.
Yeah.
They are making the dollar and that bus terminal. Do you mind when money bleed? People are right to sit in and
Don't say. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
don't want to put it. I don't want to say what I want to say. Be about yourself. Because I'm going to expose some of you.
Yes.
But I've seen the tape.
Yes.
All right.
Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good one, Kevin. Take good care.
I mean, and that's how some of Grenadians, of our Grenadians feel about this thing that is happening to us as a country. A comment on the live quickly. It says, government must be a continuum. One must not discontinue that which was working just because they don't like an individual or a party. Ooh. The comments coming in like crazy. Yes, Miss Cammy, 15-0. Let me just get back to it. And that's one of the NDC's biggest problems. Because you see, what we find happening, Mr. Bola, is that in opposition, they condemn and they say the worst that they have to say about Dr. Mitchell, about the government, about the administration. But when put to the task, they cannot perform. Because they were not looking for ways to improve or to fix. They were only looking at ways in which they could bring down and pull down and destroy and tear apart. So they have no plan to improve and develop Grenada. You know, so when put in government or put to the task, they have nothing to offer because they had nothing to offer to begin with. You know, and that is a problem that we're having. So as we come down to the wire, it is important for us to remember that whatever goes out there about Grenada, we are the ones that contribute to putting it out there. So we must be careful of what we put out there. For example, just the other day, Barbados had an issue. They had no electricity, no water for more than a week. Barbadians weren't jumping up all over the place, making a set of noise. Their prime minister took the proactive decision, and she made sure, because it is a private company that deals with their electricity. You understand? Their water is controlled solely by pumps. So, if there's no electricity, there's no water. They are not fortunate as we are to have sources and supplies of natural water like rivers and waterfalls and all of these things. So they depend solely on rainwater, So we are blessed as a people, We are blessed as a people. We have an overseas call. That's going to be the last call for the day because we are coming down to the wire. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Duncan. Good morning, Brother Bola.
Good morning to you, my brother.
Brother Bola.
Sir.
One thing I would like you to do for me.
Well, I would like to
ask the Grenadian people to find another party. Find a third party.
Yes.
Find a third party, man. Man, we know an opposition. We don't have one.
Yeah.
But not the LFE.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they're already buried in the sea.
Okay. That's where they're buried, in the sea.
You understand?
Yes.
So not the NDC. They're finished.
Okay.
They're done.
Okay.
I was part of them. They're finished.
Oh, right. So you're speaking from...
They have no ribs. No bones left.
I see.
You see? So tell them, please, just leave the doctor alone.
Yes.
And now let us play the tune. Leave the damn doctor alone.
Okay. Let the doctor do his work.
Let him do his work, man.
Yes, I agree with you.
I was against this man, and I take my heart out to this man.
Yes.
We can deny what he has done for this country.
Definitely.
We cannot forget what he has done for this country.
And what he still will do.
Yeah.
And what he still will do at this age, at this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's still fighting to go forward. He don't need us, but we need him.
Yes.
Because it's time for him to go and retire and relax.
Yes.
And we tell him, no, you can't have yet, not at this time. Hold on. Hold on. And Doc, just smile, Doc. All what I want you to do, you just smile when
well, that's what he does. He's
because
smiling.
That's all what they have is talk.
He's talk. All right.
That's all what they have is talk.
Thank
Anyhow,
you
guys have a good one.
Thank you very much. You enjoy yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day. That was our last caller. Time is on us. We really enjoyed the day with you today. And I say to you people, listen, as you go through this weekend and as you prepare for your Christmas season, we are already into the Yuletide season. We want to wish everyone well. I say that news will come to you from various circles. Read them. Listen to them. But please be careful what you do after you read or you listen. Make sense of it.
Yeah.
Especially some of you, the young people. Now, just ask yourself, if all of what they're saying in these reports and these news were true, would your parents, your grandparents, your uncles and aunts, would they have continued to vote Dr. Mitchell and the new National Party into office? Yeah. It is simply because they know that when Dr. Mitchell is at the helm, when the new National Party is in office, things always run better. I'm not going to say best, but because we are striving for best.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about in this budget, $5 million budgeted for the eradication of pit latrines.
Yeah.
Huh? NDC in government could not pay salaries at the end of the month. That is why they're doing what they're doing. Keep those thoughts in mind. All of you, enjoy your weekend. We'll hope to be with you next week. It's Senate on Monday, I think.
We have Senate on Monday and I believe on Tuesday as well. So keep that in mind. So, guys, I don't need to say anything else. Mr. Bola said it all. So on that note, we're going to close. Remember, to those of you on the Facebook Live, you can share the program before it closes so that people who want to listen to it later can have an opportunity to do so. It's always a pleasure being here with you. In whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe, be secure. We want to be talking with you and not about you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bound to crumble and to the floor the spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love, but time to battle, I'll fight them all. I felt the whips and remember chains, but my sword has been forged by my father's flames. Fight your fears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
The government of Grenada is making good on its commitment to reconstruct the Simone Cultural Centre in St. Andrew. With Phase 1 complete that saw the demolition of the existing pavilion, work is now far advanced on Phase 2 of the project, which scope of works includes fencing of the perimeter at a contracted cost of $200,000. Our State of Affairs team accompanied Honourable Kate Lewis, Member of Parliament for the constituency of St. Andrew North East, on a tour of the project. The reconstruction of the facility, she says, is important not only for her constituents, but the entire country, as major cultural events were held at the venue prior to its destruction by the passage of Hurricane Ivan on September 7, 2004. Minister Lewis outlined the scope of works already undertaken and highlighted the fact that already a number of young men from the area have gained employment from Phase 1 and 2 of the project.
And what we are seeing here is actually the second phase of the Simone Cultural Centre project. Last year we did the first phase, which was the demolition of the old structure. So in the second phase, the fencing of the grounds for the cultural center. It is important that we fence before we start the construction because we need to protect the materials and everything else that will be there. So what you are seeing happening now is the preparation for the actual fencing. So you'll see some of the holes been dug and the poles been planted or so. But this is the second phase. So far, the contract has already been signed and the work is taking place. The contractor is on scene with some of the workers here. We expect to have, throughout the whole project, over 20-30 persons involved on a rotation basis employed in the fencing phase of this project. The estimated cost of this project is almost $200,000. We had budgeted over $300,000, but based on the work that has to be done, it's over $200,000.
Due to the number of years that the site has been left unattended, community members have used it for their personal interest. One such interest is that of a mechanic. While this is so, Minister Lewis says dialogue has already been had with the individual, who has since given the commitment to remove the derelict vehicles from the site well in advance of Phase 3 of the project.
Yes, because the area seemed to be abandoned for quite some time, we have a mechanic set up here where he usually would do his mechanic work. But what has happened, we have already spoken to him. He's cooperating very well and has planned and is prepared to move the vehicles as soon as we are ready.
The Simone Cultural Centre will be upgraded from what it was initially to a more modern facility with a number of added amenities.
The Simone Cultural Centre will mean a lot for us in the community of Paradise and Simone. We have seen, myself growing up in this community, the economic benefits that the Cultural Centre brought to the residents of this area, being able to generate an income with the amount of shows, the cultural activities that would normally take place here. So I know everybody is happy, even at the NAPED semi-finals, and I myself look forward to it then, and will be doing so now.
Phase 2 of the project has been contracted out to Kurt Rennie. He spoke to the scope of work already carried out and the importance of the project to the people of the community.
The project has started this week, making it 3 weeks, right? And so far we are in the phase of casting the poles. We already dig the hole, dig the trench. Right now we're in the casting phase of the poles.
How many men do you have with you to execute this job?
At present, we'll be working on rotation, We'll try to do it in phase. So in this phase, we have at least 8 men, and the next phase after, which is pulling up the fence, we'll hire a different set. So in all, it might come up to about 40 workers. The perimeter is 1,700 feet, which will be included barbed wire, the casting, the footing, and fencing. So that's basically it.
Are you the ones who be erecting the gates at the front as well?
Basically, the project manager, he determines where the gates go, and we establish it.
I'm also seeing some excavation on the sides for the roadway and so.
Basically, the roadway is to access to the people in the village in the back. So they give them one entrance on this end, and then the next one on the end, which is accessible for them.
To ensure that residents are not affected in any way by the ongoing construction, 2 access roads have been opened.
Usually the residents would pass through the Simon Cultural Center area to get to their homes. But we did not want to disadvantage, and as a result of that, two new roads have been worked on presently, as you can see, so that they can gain access, one at the front and one at the back. So they have 2 roads in which they can use to access their homes. The residents are extremely happy because they know what the Simon Cultural Center could do for them in terms of, the economic benefits they will receive. They are actually excited and cannot wait for the project to really come on stream and be completed.
One resident spoke of the importance of the project.
I feel good about that. It's good to have the community center in Simon. To build the place, Simon need to develop. You need to have more activities going on in Grenada and more.
The draft plan of what the Simon Cultural Center and its environment will look like on completion will be unveiled to the community ahead of commencement of work on Phase 3 of the project. And that's the state of affairs. I am Sherry Ann Noel. If you want to stay married, divorce speed. Never drink and drive. After whiskey, driving is risky. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Significant progress 3.5 months after the sod was turned, signaling the commencement of work on the Government of Grenada and the OPEC Fund for International Development St. Patrick Road Upgrade Project. The St. Patrick Project is part of 24 other projects that were approved by Cabinet in April 2019. The construction of culverts, drains, retaining walls and concrete reinforced sidewalks has been awarded to Caribbean Consolidated Contractors Limited (CCC). On Monday, CCC Site Superintendent Joseph Maitland updated GIS on the progress of work at Belmont, Callaloo, The Wharf and Guru Bailey Hill. Our first stop was at the site in Belmont, where a massive 100-meter-long retaining wall is under construction.
This is the beginning of the Sotters Hermitage Rehabilitation Project. All right? We are tackling all the major aspect of the work, which will include like all the major structure of retaining wall, box culvert, and all the major cuts in terms of expansion of road widening. All right, here we are now in Belmont. Well, this is one of our major retaining structure in Belmont. It's almost 100 meters long. All right, we started this on the 16th of last month. Right now we are 45% in completion. Okay, we have a numerous around 65 people working on the project, which includes like foreman, masons, carpenters, but basically all of them are Grenadians. Mostly the whole project is spearheaded by the engineer and the project manager, who is expatriate. But the majority aspect of everybody working here are totally Grenadians.
On completion of the construction of the retaining wall, the following scope of works will have to be carried out.
All right, the next step, as you see, it's the retaining wall basically responsible for the expansion of road widening. We are doing road widening here. What you realize, you see the height of the wall. So after this wall is completed, we have to backfill this wall in layers by layers. Make sure it's within the requirement of the specs, because we have to do it layer by layer compaction and bring it up to the elevation which is given for the road level. There is a specific elevation for the road level which is responsible. So when we finish construct this wall, we will backfill it right up and to the elevation of the road, and then we take it from there.
How much foot stemming and the stem at the bottom is how thick? How?
Is 40, all right? And it reached up to, I think, 30 to the top. All right, basically the stem is wider, but as the walls goes down, he has a structure where he comes back up to the top at 30 centimeters.
Civil technician at WI Consults, Christian DeBellet, was on site and says thus far all the construction work are being done to specification.
On the project, we are responsible for design and supervision. So essentially, we did these essential designs, everything, and now we're supervising to ensure that it's done to that standard.
In terms of the design and so, is it that you all had to do was testing part of your all work? And tell us about your design and specification as to what has to happen here in order for it to be passed.
Well, testing was done initially, and there's continuous testing throughout. For example, the concrete is tested, the sub-base, sub-grade, everything is tested to meet requirements. If not, you fail and have to do it over.
One of the hindrances to the smooth execution of the project, Mr. Matlin says, is the electricity pole that is yet to be relocated by Grenlec.
You see, but everything had to coordinate it because, you know, there is public utilities who are supposed to be working along with us, like Grenlec, Nawasa. So far, Nawasa is 100% in cooperation with us. Whenever you have a problem, we just inform them and they are here. But Grenlec has came. They had already identified all the poles that's supposed to remove. You notice there is one at the location at Belmont, which is right in the excavation part of the job. And as far as you go, you will notice that there are several poles that is within that. In order to commence the work to the pace we want to go, all these poles have to be relocated.
Our next stop was at an area in Hermitage referred to as the Callaloo, where excavation work on a retaining wall and the box culvert is presently being carried out by Fare Construction Company.
We are commencing our second major retaining wall. All right, it's a distance of 65 meters long. All right, what you are seeing here right now is that to commence the work, to finish it at the required time, what we did is that we have a few local subcontractors. And in this aspect of this job here, Fare Construction is doing this retaining wall. All right, the base is 3.8 meters wide. That's the base of the wall. But then the same format is just like the one down at Belmont. The stem will be 40 and it rises up to. But the height of this one is 5 meters. All right. What you are seeing here right now is that we are preparing the excavation. The company, we are doing the excavation, preparing, and then they do the blinding. When they blind, that is for the formation to place in the steel. You must have to stabilize the ground first, compact it, stabilize it, blast the rock, whatever is required. Make sure it's stabilized. The inspector from WI will come and inspect to see it is required, what we are looking for, and then we start the formwork. So what you are doing basically right now is excavating and preparing for the base formation. So this is where you will find that the river been doing some tremendous hazard around this area. The existing before this area normally overflow all the time. All around, the water overflow the banks and it flood the area. What we are doing here now, we are reconstructing a new massive box culvert. All right, we is in the initial stage. We did the blinding, and right now we are doing the formation of the steelwork. All right, this is also being subbed to Fare Construction. All right, the length of it is 8.2 of the box culvert. The width is 8.6. It varies to a height about 2.7 height. So that would be able to adequate the flow of the water. At least it would facilitate water, all the overflow of the water. So what you see we are doing here now is that we did a diversion which we are standing here right now, so we could accommodate the construction in terms of the box culvert. All right, when we complete the box culvert, then we will prepare the whole area back to the normal way how it was. So right now, this is one of our major box culvert. We has 2 more to build, but this is the first one. It's just in initial stage. Let me see about 20%, 25%.
The team then moved to another area in Hermitage called the Wharf, where road expansion works is ongoing on 2 retaining walls that has been subcontracted to Bullins Construction Company, one 25.5 meters long and 3 meters high, and the other 26.5 meters. Foreman on the project is Randy Wilkinson.
We have about 12 guys working with us, and the project is going quite fine. Everybody hold the corner, everybody do what they gotta do under good supervision.
Any challenges experienced in terms?
Based on the water experience, we have a little challenge. We'll fix it.
Apart from, the inclement weather that we've been experiencing and the water and so on, do you think that you're well on your way in terms of meeting your target?
Yes, we do. We work night and day to get things done. So we are on our target. I think we are on our target.
Thank you.
What we are doing here is that we are doing some road expansion. They had some slide movement existing before with a guardrail where it was very hazard for the traffic. So we are doing some road expansion. We're shifting the alignment of the road to the right-hand side. In the process of doing that, commencing that work, as I told you before, we are tackling all the major construction part in terms of all the massive work we're supposed to do. So this is another retaining wall, and this wall is sub out to Mr. Bullen, another subcontractor who is doing this work. Right now, at the stage of this work, it is about 25%. Excavation has done, blinding has poured, and we're getting ready for the steel formation. So far, this is the aspect of this work here.
A massive box culvert is also under construction, and unlike the retaining walls project, the construction of the box culvert, Mr. Maitland says, has been retained by his company, Consolidated Contractors Company Limited.
This box culvert normally has to facilitate because there was overflow of water throughout the existing period before. So we're tackling this box culvert down there is done by our personnel, CCC personnel. We have not subbed up this one. The foreman is a guy by the name of Peter Lawrence, who normally works with the company. He's been working with the company for throughout the years. And he's qualified in doing that because throughout the different projects, he normally do this part of the construction. So he has locals with him who is doing the construction. And the dimension of that bridge is like 8.4 plus 8.2 in terms of width and height. It will facilitate a sidewalk plus a head wall in all the aspects of the box culvert. This box culvert, however, over there is about 85% in completion. What we are doing now is just preparation for the decking slab. We did all the blinding, all the replacement, all the abutment walls, all the base. So what we are doing now is just the covered decking slab for the finishing of the box culvert.
On completion of the retaining walls, aggregates that has been tested from the excavation of the embankments at Carriacou Bailey Hill will be used to backfill.
After the completion of this wall, we will do our basic backfilling layers. If you notice alongside the road, the material we cut from Carriacou Bailey Hill, we are utilizing. When it has been tested, it falls within the specs of the contract because the contract have a specification required for the job. So the aggregate has been tested. It is suitable for sub-base, sub-grade material. So we are utilizing all these material to backfill the retaining wall. That way you notice you will see a whole pile of material on the left-hand side of the road. What you will also see is that we have some telephone poles also to remove in this area. We need it kind of a speedy to be done. If you could get, the faster we do it, then we'll start handling our drainage work. If you notice, the project would have to start from the back, come up to the front. So we will have to start the drainage work. If you notice, there is no drainage work starting yet because of how we're tackling the job. When we put in all the major construction wall, all the box culvert, the drainage will be just easy to go through. All right? So, and I would reiterate again, they have no much expatriate here. There's only the project engineer, project manager, the project engineer, and that's it. And the majority of people is based on Grenadians who did this job.
CCC's site superintendent says once electricity poles are removed, the project will progress at a faster pace, making it much more convenient for motorists and pedestrians to traverse. I am Sharia Noel, thanking you for viewing.
Government minister cites urgent need for local skilled labor as more applications are made for work permits. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Thursday, November 28th, 2019, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Labour Minister Honorable Peter David says while government has a part to play to ensure that Grenada develops a skilled labour force, young people also owe it to themselves to seek out and acquire the skills that can make them self-sufficient. Making his contribution to Grenada's $1 billion 2020 budget recently, Minister David said for 2019, Grenada earned just under $2 million in income from processing work permits. He says this shows that there is an urgent need for skilled labor, which is currently being imported, and as such, Grenadians need to tap into these areas of demand.
If we have these trained persons, then we won't be needing all these work permits. So we have to work towards that as a government. But not everything is up to the government. It is up to the young people to take the opportunities afforded to them, buy the tools, stick with the guys who know the trade, learn from them. And that way, we will be able to reduce the work permits. And maybe we will not reduce the work permits. Maybe we will continue to give work permits because more and more and more projects are coming. But at least we will have more Grenadians, trained Grenadians, able to earn higher incomes from these projects.
The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, says 2019 has been a profitable year for the banking and non-banking sectors, which recorded declines in the non-performing loans below the international benchmark. Liquidity continues to be a looming issue in the commercial banking system. Total deposits increased by 5.3% during the period July 2018 to July 2019 to $3 million, while total loans rose by 3% to $1 million over the same period. One local bank says it has recorded its sixth consecutive growth in 2019. The Grenada Cooperative Bank, in giving its 2019 year-end performance report for the period October 1st, 2018 to September 30th, 2019, said $9.7 million was recorded after its tax profits, an increase of 26%.
As the economy continues to grow, the banking sector has seen a turnaround in the demand for credit and a continued reduction in the non-performing loans. Liquidity levels within the banking system remain high as deposit growth flourishes, with still limited options in the domestic market for the absorption of the excess liquidity. Operating costs within the sector continues to be a challenge due to the continual metamorphosis of the regulatory and compliance environment. The banking space remains highly competitive as commercial banks, credit unions, and non-bank financial institutions aggressively compete for business.
That was Chairman of the bank, Darrell Brathwaite. He says this was driven by an increase in credit demand, reduction in non-performing loans, and containment of loan delinquency.
Improve credit and liquidity risk management, along with expanding transaction volumes. Our non-performing loans ratio is now below 1% as at 30th September 2019, demonstrating the success of our previously articulated commitment to continuous improvement in our credit underwriting and the containment of loan delinquency. Maintaining high asset quality remains our primary area of focus.
The ECCB's prime loan rate remains at 10% and the discount rate remains at 6.5%. This is the National Report. We'll have more news after the break.
The Grenada Trade Center, in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Utilities, NTRC, and the PURC, presents a mega trade show and educational drive from Friday, November 29th to Sunday, December 1st at the Grenada Trade Center. Bring out the entire family to be informed and educated on financial, ICT, and insurance matters. Also on display will be LED energy-saving products, jewelry, art and craft, and so much more. You can also enjoy fireworks and sweet steel pan music. Mark the date, Grenada, November 29th to December 1st, Grenada Trade Center, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's a family affair. Our partners, GUT Credit Union, Antillean Insurance, Flow, Blue Bubbles PA and Rental Services, Nexio, and GIC.
Welcome back. Moving on to education, more than 60 secondary school teachers recently participated in a modern language teachers training workshop to look at new material in textbooks by Oxford University Press. We have more in this report by Annette Moore.
The one-day training workshop, sponsored by Oxford University Press, one of the leading textbook publishers in the world, targeted secondary school French and Spanish teachers who currently use textbooks from this publisher. Marisha Charles Alexis, the curriculum officer for modern languages, provided some background into the origin and purpose of this training.
In 2017, I believe, we had our national book review. And both French and Spanish teachers selected books that came from Oxford University Press. And I saw it fit to engage the company to request training in how to interact with the new material that students and teachers were receiving. This has never been done before. It was also useful for us to get some direct input from some of the authors of the two textbooks. From the first workshop, I noticed that some teachers were still having difficulties, hence the second workshop.
Ninka Abin and her colleague from the Oxford University Press were here to deliver the training.
We first sent out a survey to all the teachers in Grenada and they came back with feedback. And from that feedback we created this workshop to support the teachers with the teacher guides, with differentiation, how to use the books, activities, and also it was really lovely to just be here, and we met all the teachers and they were quite engaged. They were interested in hearing more about the resource. Teachers have now a bit more of an idea of how they can use this, so we really hope that we can, with this, give them a bit more support.
The company was very pleased to announce this morning that the French teachers will now have the audio recordings that go along with the textbook online.
Now we have also given Grenada especially, and we will reach out to other islands, more support with the skill listening.
So this kind of engagement with companies that supply us material is quite good. It's working out quite well for us.
Participants in the workshop provided feedback on the exchange. Rachel Lewis, a Spanish teacher at the Anglican High School, is participating for the second time.
It has been quite informative. We are learning quite a bit about integrating the textbooks that we have to use at this school in our classrooms and making learning a lot more fun for the students using that material. I particularly liked the way that the book links the activity to your objectives. Because sometimes as teachers, you have an objective, you have an idea as to what you want to teach that day, but the activities to get the kids involved in what you want to do, sometimes it just doesn't come about. So we get to learn different activities that we can introduce into the classroom to help get our objective complete.
Frankie Noel, a Spanish teacher and head of the Foreign Language Department at MacDonald College, also agreed with this observation.
The books that we had before, they did not have as much activities in them as we have with this book now, and we realize that there is actually a teacher's guide, and there is also the workbook that coincides with each aspect of the book. I just learned about Las Pruebas. That's a assessment tool that is used after certain topics are taught, units are taught, in order to examine the students' previous knowledge as well as what they would have learned through the units. Most so it focuses on the grammatical aspects as well as the vocabulary of the students.
Charles Alexis also pointed out some of the workshop's highlights.
One of the highlights for me would be the information that was presented on lesson planning. Another high point for me would be the reference to differentiated instruction. We're aware that we have classes with students of mixed abilities, and our mandate from the Ministry of Education to teachers is that each child must feel included in each class.
Having the workshop today enlightens us as to how the language is ever changing, different strategies or techniques that can be employed in the classroom. So because of that, I think the workshop was beneficial.
We're putting a different face to modern languages. It's not just something that students do to pass the time. These are skills that we're helping our students to build. I'm looking forward to improved lesson plans when I go out to schools to support and to supervise teachers. I'm expecting improved lesson delivery.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. Finally, in the news, 8 Grenadians are now certified following the completion of a refrigerant driving license RDL program. 6 are certified at the level of trainers and 2 as technicians. The internationally recognized program assists in reducing the consumption of greenhouse gases and other substances and contributes to implementing proper and safe management of refrigerants in AC, heating and refrigeration equipment. The participants are now qualified to conduct RDL training to other technicians worldwide. A recognition ceremony was held to commemorate their recent achievement. The National Ozone Unit has many stakeholders on board to help promote climate-friendly and energy-efficient alternatives. Mr. Leslie Smith spoke about the initiative.
We must underscore that each and every one of us in the room here who are stakeholders, be it technicians, be it trainers, be it marketing people for these companies that sell the equipment, academia, etc., have a very important role to play in the global effort to rid the planet of these dangerous chemicals. And so we are very happy that we have had, so far, very good cooperation from all of the stakeholders, and we are at a very good position now where we are amongst the leaders in the world and recognized globally for our efforts in the phase down of ozone-depleting substances.
Ms. Esther Thomas, who is attached to the Ministry of Infrastructural Development, says the program will benefit Grenada.
Grenada, being a small island state, is particularly vulnerable to the negative impacts of global warming, climate change, and adverse environmental impacts, and must therefore find solutions to mitigate against these conditions. Hence, a large greenhouse gas mitigation potential lies in transitioning from highly climate-damaging refrigerants to alternatives with low global warming potential with improved energy efficiency.
That story just ended the National Report for today, Thursday, November 28th, 2019. Let's recap the top story. Government minister cites urgent need for local skilled labor as more applications are made for work permits. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Now this is the big one as Culture Train String Band Group presents the Param Train 2.0 from Friday, November 1st to Saturday, December 21st. And we kick things off on the Sister Isle. Friday, November 1st, the Brunswick Cemetery. November 9th, Bristol Shop in Leicester. November 15th, Modest Shop in Mount Royal. November 16th, Wayne's Bar, Hillsborough. November 22nd, Brongo Shop, Harvey Vale. November 23rd, Goosey Shop, Winwood. November 27th, Sky Shop in Brunswick. November 29th, we head to Union Island to Hugh Malzat Square, Clifton. November 30th, we inside P.T. Martinick at Jigs Cross. December 4th, Pro Shop, Belvedere. On December 6th, we head to the mainland Grenada at Travelers Bar, Grandmore. And on December 8th, Gold's Bar under the Bamboo, Pedmota. December 11th, Marvin Shop in 6 Roads. And on Saturday, December 21st, it's the grand finale round the island. And all events start from 7 p.m. Parent Train 2.0, brought to you by Grenada Tourism Authority, Government of Grenada, Grenada Distillers Limited, Digicel, WeiVybz FM, Sister Isle Radio, Amazing Colors, Ariza Credit Union, and Booms Construction.
The Parent Train, and they'll be coming in by you.
The new national party, NNP St. Andrews Southwest Youth Arm, presents its annual themed cocktail and gala. It's 90s style. That's right, we're going back in time. Saturday, November 30th, 2019. Going down at the Twilight Nightclub, Grenfell. Cocktail starts from 7 p.m. until you say when. Tickets cost only $15. Finger foods included. With music by Grenada's top DJs, alongside live performances. Lots of top prizes for the best dressed male, best dressed female, best dressed couple, and many more. The NNP St. Andrews Southwest Youth Arm 90s style cocktail and gala. Saturday, November 30th. Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.